Guild Wars 2 podcast, bringing you the latest in the battle for Tyria. This is The Siege. Prepare for battle.
And you have entered The Siege, a podcast dedicated to the game Guild Wars 2. Welcome back, everybody. And if you just found us, don't worry. You only have one show to catch up on, so that's pretty simple. This week, we have another great show just to get you more excited about ramping up into Guild Wars 2. This week, we're talking about community. And what part are you going to play in the community of Guild Wars 2? We're going to be talking about the importance of guilds in the games. We're also going to have a really good opportunity to feature a couple of guilds that are going to be in the game at launch and talk a little bit about what they're going to be doing in the game, things of that nature. Also, this week, we're going to be breaking down the influence system. So it's going to be a really fun show this week. Talk a lot about community and how all these little moving parts are going to be coming together. That's the show. Here's the cast. Joining us this week, we have just about everybody. We're only missing one guy, Oakley. He'll be out this week. He is moving. Good luck moving, Oak. So let's just go down the line. He is our master of PvE. He is Grates.
Yeah, we'll go with the story that he's moving. Just, if he's not here later on, just ignore that.
He is our master of lore. He is Kash.
In the house.
The master of all PvP-ness, Denver Drew.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
All right, so you were the horse in that, right?
Indeed. I was the one that gets shot in the ass and was lame afterwards. Oh, wait, that's Robin Hood. Never mind.
That's normal for you then.
Oh, my
More
Lord.
or less.
She is our femme fatale. She is Tara.
Howdy.
He is the grandfather of all MMO gamers. He is Papa Certas.
Hello.
Hello. He is our lead writer for the MogRadio.com and the Mog Nation. He is Kellendel.
So wait, what is Guild Wars about again?
Yes, forget it. He is our master of role-playing. He is Parasite.
Hola.
Last but not least, a very special guest today. He is the guild master for the Minions of Grenth. Please welcome Scubahsteve.
Hey, baby.
There you have it. So, that's the show. This is the cast. The Siege starts right now. So, this week, again, like we said, we're talking about community. One of the most really, I think, interesting parts of MMO games in general is kind of how community is where the player and I think the developer kind of meet in the game space, where they get a chance to set up some tools for us. We get a chance to kind of take things into our own hands and create events and things of that nature to really keep the game interesting. So this week, we thought it'd be really important to talk about community because really an MMO success is so predicated upon the vibrance and the commitment of its community as well. So why don't we just go ahead and just start the conversation? Really, let's go around the horn. What really does community mean to you inside of an MMO is what I'd really like to know. Grace, give us a start there. What does that mean to you?
Community means enjoying the people that I game with and having a great time with basically everybody that's a part of the community that I'm active in. And if you're playing a large multiplayer online guild, if you don't have that good community, then it's just not fun.
community is really what makes all MMOs fun. I think it's just getting everybody together and having a large population of people that all want to be involved. That's the biggest thing, is that community needs involvement, and the more involved the community is, the better the game is. Everybody that plays EVE Online knows that they've got a very active community, even though it's not as big as some other ones. So I think it's really a matter of engagement level. And the more engaged people are in PvP, especially in this game, the happier everyone's going to be.
I like that. Cash, what do you think?
For me, I'm looking at about a 50-50 split. It used to be about 80-20. The game would mean much more to me than the community does. But I think now, there has to be a couple of things in place. Number one, I have to like the genre. I have to like the type of game. But, so I'm looking at about a 50-50 split in between how much I like a game, and the other part is pretty much all community for me. And I really found my love in building a community. Most of my life is kind of structured around, some different things, and I really don't have a lot of gamer friends. So when I get online, most of my closest friends are gamers that, a lot of whom I've never even met face to face. So for me, building a community, finding a community of like-minded people that, we all have a mutual respect for each other. We get to get online, have a great time, cut loose a little bit, forget about the real world and play a game is a lot of why I play games.
Community for me, it's the whole point that an MMO exists. Mm-hmm. That's the massively part of the MMO. So without one, your game is doomed to fail. With a strong community, even a game, look at, for instance, Loretime. That community stuck with that game, even though it came out crappy, had a kind of a bad launch. Mm-hmm. Great game, but they stuck with it when it went free to play, which we'll delve into later. But your community will set you apart, and it's the difference between having a successful game and having a load of steaming pile of crap.
So wait a second. Are you trying to say that maybe community is it could be a tipping point for people possibly coming or leaving a game?
Community, yes. Community could tip it. Community could make it inclusive. Like you mentioned, EVE. EVE, I've played EVE. Mm-hmm. It's a game, and I've said it before. EVE makes no compromises. It is what it is. You either like it or you don't. The community is helpful. When you log in, you're a noob. Community will help up to a point. So, and then you look at, for instance, World of Warcraft's community. It's kind of, it has the impression that it's kind of elitist. Mm-hmm. There are some people out there that help you with rating, but there are a lot of people that are like, no, you don't know it. All this information out there, you need to learn it. I'm done with you. Okay. So your community will either welcome a new person, alienate a new person. Right. It's the difference between success and failure.
Interesting. Kel, what are your thoughts on community?
Well, there's the good side and the bad side. Okay. There are the trolls, a.k.a. Baron Chat. I just don't feel at home, even though it's the bad side, if there isn't some trolling going on in general chat and people just being idiots.
You've always got to have that.
You have to. Because I admit sometimes it's a bit fun. I've perhaps posted fake advertisements for lightsaber enhancement pumps on certain general chats.
Nice.
Just saying. It's fun. It just people out there just making the community alive and vibrant. But for me, I can't play a game without other people that I enjoy playing it with.
It's kind of like that drunk person at the wedding reception. You know there's going to be one person who's that drunken fool at the wedding reception. You just don't know who it is.
You don't, and sometimes it's annoying, but sometimes they do something that's incredibly hilarious.
Just fun
and you'll
stuff.
Talk about it later and tell your friends.
Oh, everyone talks about it. Yeah, absolutely right.
I'm the drunken fool at the wedding reception.
Yes,
to me, community is something that it goes just beyond your guild or your group of friends. It even can go on beyond your server in the game you play. Because as gamers, we're a community. So I believe communities are just centered around a point of interest. And you can be a member of different communities. I'm a member of like an all-female gaming community, and I'm a member of a player killer community, and of course, Mog Nation. So I think they're things that I like to go to just be myself and talk to people that are of a like mind.
Steve, what are you thinking on this one?
Everybody pretty much hit the same thing that I was thinking about a community. Community really is, to me, a heart of an MMO. Much like Sertos was saying, that's the massively part of the game is the community. And a lot of times me to stay in a game longer than when I get bored with it is depending on the community.
I mean, yeah, everybody's pretty much hit the nail on the head right here. I mean, I always see community in an MMO as just kind of the lifeblood of an MMO. Without it, you're pretty much playing a single-player game. And I kind of like the good and the bad. It's kind of like we were saying. I mean, sometimes the trolls end up making the game for you. It's fun to have a great group of people, but having some people to hate as well and band together and hate alongside each other, that adds a whole extra element. And it's just kind of, it goes hand in hand. The good, the bad, and the ugly all make what we love about MMOs.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, we have got to have, in the end, we have to have that segment of the community that are its harshest critics. Is we have to have this biggest supporters, and we have to have the middle of the road. I mean, we have to have all of that stuff, and I think that's really where MMOs truly shine, is that they are kind of a living and breathing creature for the first time, in gaming. I think that's really the appeal for me of an MMO in general, is just the fact that there really is no other games out there that have this dynamic living community within them that you join every single time you come into the game. I have to play PvP in Modern Warfare in order to really experience community, things like that. And MMOs really separate us that way. So let's talk about this real quick. How is Guild Wars, I mean, as a game, we've all been in there for a little bit at least. How does it compare to other MMOs in fostering or encouraging community to grow within it? Are there some systems in there that really encourage it, or are there some things that discourage it? And I'm just opening it up, whoever wants to share.
Definitely, with the way that they're setting this thing up, with the amounts of the hordes of people that you're going to need in order to dominate, and that's pretty much what everybody wants to do in PvP, right? They're setting it up the right way. And, you take, for example, a community such as ours. I mean, we're looking at Mog Nation. We're looking at a couple of pretty decent-sized guilds already going into this. And the majority of why people want to go in there is because of the game systems. So imagine the relationships that we're going to be able to create with all these people coming from all these, coming from different guilds and converging into the Mog Nation and TFO and the Minions of Grenth. And it's going to be an amazing place to play and foster friendships. And to me, like I said, that's what it's about. There's two different things. It's your gameplay and meeting new people and being within a community. So, yeah, are they setting it up for that to happen with their game systems? Absolutely.
I actually think they're setting it up a little both ways. Their world versus world and their dungeons that they've shown so far are doing really good in fostering a huge sense of community, especially the way their guild and influence systems are working, but we'll get more to that later. But
yes, we will.
Also the fact, though, and here's something, just a downfall of any game that does this, is the buy it once and then you own it model of it. And I love this model because, that's how games always used to be before. Everyone wanted a little bit of your downloadable content or a little add-on expansion packs. You used to get free expansion packs. Anyhow, though, by doing that, you also foster in all of the 10-year-olds, all of the 12-year-olds, and they may not actually be that age, but they act like it. And that can be very detrimental for a game as well, especially for the community if you're trying to do it like that too. So,
what's the fix?
There is no easy fix, hence why it's rocking a hard place on that, unfortunately, because you're either going to make a subscription-based model, which usually doesn't work very well anymore, as we've seen through other games.
Right.
It has to be a huge game to begin with, and even those are falling and dropping off the map.
Yep.
Or you have to open it up for free to play, which is basically what Guild Wars is doing, and then you're going to have to deal with the added trolls on a huge basis, not just a little, every now and then like Kel likes to do, but, definite large portion. Unfortunately, yeah, there is no easy fix for it, and it's just something you got to learn to deal with.
That is one of the biggest things, too, is that, coming into an MMO, you have to almost expect, especially in a free-to-play MMO, you have to expect that there's going to be some different personalities out there, and you know, there's going to be people that respect each other, that want to have a great time, that, you know, do this for a hobby, and everybody, you know, they want to go out there and help each other. And then you're going to run into the crowd that does this as an outlet, and their whole goal is to grief, and their whole goal is to be idiots, so to speak, you know. So for me, it's like you have to go into something like this with an open mind, especially a free-to-play model, because you know that you're going to have all of those different types of personalities out there, and really what is going to make your gameplay meaningful to you is just the way that you choose to react to those certain situations, because you will be tested. You'll be put into those situations where, you know, somebody will kill steal, or somebody will, you know, join your full group and halfway through they bail. And so there's going to be all those situations that happen that you're going to have to learn to live with. But one, that's just MMOs. And two, like I said, you're going to gauge your own experience off the way you react to those things.
I think Guild Wars takes away a lot of those opportunities for people who want to grief. For instance, they've taken away kill stealing. And it doesn't matter if you're in a group with someone or not, you can still accomplish the same goals. So, and when I think about people that enjoy griefing and like to take that game and make it into their own metagame where they have the rules, they're not your rules, it's their rules.
Right.
So if you are, like, say, in an open world, if somebody does come up and constantly keeps killing you in open world PvP or world versus world, they can't send you smack talk, so they can't get that reward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes
in my experience with the player killing and griefing community, a lot of griefers prefer an open world but random, where everybody could kill anybody type of game. And I don't see that as like a reward system for them in doing this here.
That's like Shadowbane or Darkfall.
Ah, Shadowbane, Darkfall.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
There's a blast from the past.
Those are crazy games. All right. So, okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Dever, what do you think? Are there going to be a lot of opportunities here? I think they've limited opportunities for any toxic members of the community really to get a little root anywhere.
Yeah, they've pretty much done the maximum amount that they can do to minimize that problem. Chat is always going to be an issue because you can't control it. You can ban people for it. Well, of course. I mean, in terms of what people say on chat, you can't control that. But if it's something that's outlandish and out of line, report them. Hit ignore on your chat. Move on with life. But certainly, just like every other general chat, I would say turn it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find yourself a group of people you like to run with and just turn that off. But yeah, it's all the dynamic world events, so there's very little options for griefing. It's a lot of group content and group play anyway, so it really tries to minimize that in that respect. The PvP, opportunities, there are going to be issues with world PvP where a larger force goes in and continues to grief one person or another, but they've also minimized that by including the NPC portion of any keep or anything like that. So if it's one person and they're just standing in town, it's not going to be like World of Warcraft where they can swing in, kill everybody in that area, and just start blowing people up. So definitely done their diligence on it, I would say.
I'm going to throw this one out there. Do you think that, and the more I've played Guild Wars 2, the more I read about it, have they really set this game up to almost that it's a better experience if you're in a guild as opposed to being a solo player?
I would say so.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the stuff that they're adding with world PvP. There's so much in this that is all about numbers. And yeah, you can get on general chat and start calling for reinforcements and all that stuff, but having a core group, you're going to always, especially world PvP, if you're playing with a group of people that you know how to play and you know their skills, you're going to dominate compared to anybody that's just kind of going there as a solo player trying to recruit people. So, yeah, I say it's called Guild Wars for a reason.
Talk to me, Scuba. Guilds have been one of those systems, I mean, really, if we follow MMOs, I mean, guilds used to be literally just the little tag next to your name. You know, it was about the functionality that you got out of them. You know, and here we are in today's age where guild functionality is through the roof with what you can do with them. How important, in your estimation, is it to be in a guild, and what are the real benefits of being in one in an MMO?
Oh, in general. Well, like they were saying a while ago, it helps out a lot if you have that core group of people that you can play with, especially if you get in a guild that plays at the same time as you, has the like-minded attitude that you do, you know, whether it's casual, whether it's hardcore, or if you just like to go and have fun, and whatever it is, you know, if you focus on PvP, PvE, whatever, if you get into that, you find that right community, or that guild in this case, it helps out a lot tremendously in either accomplishing things and having fun if that's what you just want to do for the game.
Yeah, do you think it helps dilute some of that griefing or some of that, you know, just the, you know, that community, the members of the community that you might find offensive? Do you think having a core group that you just know you can rely on, does that help kind of minimize some of that?
To a certain extent, you're always going to have that griefing there, much like what Denver was saying. In the chat, you can only control so much. With Guild Wars 2, they've minimized that opportunity of griefing in the open world. There's no kill stealing, like Tara said. The dynamic events, everybody contributes. You know, you get your own rewards. Everybody gets their separate loot. Those kind of things that really contribute. And if you're in a guild more so, you're going to be running around with more people that's going to have your back.
Yeah, you know, the other thing, too, that I was going to mention is that those people, the people that start griefing and the people who are just acting like idiots out there, they're going to alienate themselves. And you'll quickly see it on any game. You know, certain games have their hubs where people start to hang out. You know, in WoW years ago, it was the Barons, and, you know, in SWTOR, it was the Fleet. And when you pay attention to that chat, whether or not you have it filtered or not, you pay attention to that chat, those people are going to start popping up, and you're going to start recognizing the name. Well, the rest of the community is going to be able to, you know, kind of do their own pruning at the same time too. They're gonna see that person's name, and they're automatically going to either ignore them, or, you know, they're just going to know that those certain individuals are the knuckleheads. So I think to a certain extent, you know, although we're kind of putting a lot of focus on those trolls, they do end up weeding themselves out. And it's like, you know, if you see somebody acting like that, you know, in certain chat functions of the game, are you going to invite them into a group? You know, typically the answer for me is going to be no, and because you're going to have your own communities and your own known commodities that you hang with. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to bring that dynamic into your group? So those people will segregate themselves.
No, I agree with you. Cal, get in here. 80 levels of PvE plus World v World plus structured PvP. Is joining a guild a smart move in Guild Wars 2?
Well, given its name is Guild Wars, that would be like, I don't know, playing World of Warcraft and staying in your house and never leaving. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Wait, people do that, though.
Yeah, people do that.
I don't mean your real house. I mean, like, staying in the Goldshire. Wait, people do that, too. Never mind.
I think there's really no housing.
Totally ran off the tracks.
Yep, Cal.
I know, but
your attempt at cleverness ends in an epic fail. Denver, can we get it, please?
Yes, what Kel was trying to say was it's World of Warcraft without the world.
Ah, there we go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Kel, continue.
I speak Kel. It's fine.
Kel, continue on, my friend.
It just, in a game that large that's so focused on PvP, if you're going to PvP, and why are you not if you're playing Guild Wars 2? That's what its main focus is.
Sure.
You are an idiot if you don't group. You are better in PvP in a group. Lone wolves die quickly.
I know, idiot. That's pretty major there, man. I mean, I've seen I walked into World PvP completely solo, found a group of people, and did okay.
And again, the point made. Dun da dun da da.
Yeah, you did okay.
I did okay.
I PvP to do great.
Yeah,
not okay.
Well, an idiot. I don't know about idiot, but I think guilding is definitely a benefit, especially in this system. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can do in this. Tara, I mean, you've had good experiences in guilds, have you not? In general.
Yeah, I actually ran one in EverQuest for a long time. What started out as just a chat room for my friends, 5 friends, turned into 500.
Nice.
So, yeah. I really enjoy just the sense of, making friendships and being able to have people to talk to and also people to play with and explore with.
Yeah, it is fun. Certos, talk to me. Is it easier to conquer the content of a game in a guild or without one?
It is much easier to conquer the content in a game if you're in a guild. And partially, the biggest reason why is because a lot of these games, the content, a lot of them are theme park MMOs. So the content is designed for groups. If you are in a guild and they're like-minded individuals, like Scuba said, if they're all, let's say they're hardcore, you're a hardcore player, you're a hardcore raider, it would make sense to join a guild of hardcore raiders because you can't raid by yourself unless the content is so beneath you that you're just doing it just for S&Gs.
Right.
Or you may be doing it just to challenge yourself, which is a hard way to go. So, and even then, if you, let's say you're trying to solo, a boss by yourself, which has been done in other games, you still need to be able to get the gear so that you could possibly do that. In order to do that, you need a group. So these games are designed for you to be in a group. And as Kel said, this is Guild Wars. It's a game of guilds that go to war. If you're by yourself, you will die. And I would echo Kel's sentiment that it is kind of idiotic to play a game called Guild Wars and not join a guild. Just saying.
Man, you guys just want to throw out these harsh terms today. It's idiotic.
It's a harsh world. It's a harsh world.
To some degree, though, with this game and what we've seen with other MMO communities, it's not that hard to find a guild. No. So if it was a difficult thing, then I would say, we shouldn't be calling people idiots. But if you are saying, man, I wish I could join a guild, but you just don't, that's kind of idiot behavior.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I think there's a barrier to entry in a lot of guilds. It's an intimidating process. Let's be honest. We have generally moved as a guilding community. The guilding community has moved from in-game spams to just random invites or people just saying, hey, I want to join you, and then they just send the invitation into, we have engine.com now, and everyone's got a website and forum space and applications to fill out. It's a lot of work to get in a guild nowadays. It's at least one that's reputable and active. Is there kind of an intimidation factor for a new player on that, do you think?
Absolutely. There is an intimidation factor with joining some guilds. Some guilds, they're casual. Hey, they accept anybody. You get in there, do what you do and have fun. And then there are some that are, the game is more about somewhat business, and I would say conquering the game or getting achievements. So for those guilds, they're going to want people that are like-minded. So, I believe in every game that I've played that you will always have your elite guilds that's going to make you jump through the hoops, going to make you go through the rigmarole to join. But there are far more casual guilds where they just ask you, hey, tell us a little bit about you so we can make sure that, we're a family-oriented guild. We don't need you coming in cussing like a sailor in guild chat. So we want to know a little bit about what you're about, and that's the majority in these games. So it can be intimidating to join some guilds, but those guilds, you knew it was intimidating when you started the whole application process. Most of the guilds, especially, us, we're about community. Let's bring it all, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Let's have a party. So
let's have a party.
If you're scared to join a guild, come over to Mog Nation. We'll treat you right. We might even leave a light on for you like Tom Bodette.
Oh, hey there. I didn't see you standing there. Snuck up on me kind of stealth-like, eh? What are you, some kind of thief? Well, anyway, I'm Nat, and I'm an Azuran. and you've found yourself in Rotasum, my home. I'm in the middle of solving a very important alchemagical hyperbole. For you Nimrods, alchemagic is a mix between alchemy and magic. It's an Azuran specialty. You see, I study at the College of Dynamics. For you nitwits, that means I study magic, politics, social theory, and among other things, history. But don't say anything to my elders about the history part. They'd rather I just look to the future. So, speaking of history, you want to hear some? I might as well enlighten you on the most intelligent race in all of Tyria, right? Of course. So, the Asura didn't start out like the surface dwellers you are. We dwelt below ground for thousands of years without you knuckleheads even knowing. We'd have stayed down there too if it wasn't for the minions of the Great Destroyer who forced us out of our underground homes about 250 years ago. But I don't mind being up here on the surface, don't get me wrong. It just gives us a chance to prove our superior intellects to dillweeds like you. We built a big city and began to learn and research things that we never even knew existed. So what if we're kind of small? Even our biggest citizens only reach about the belt level of a Norn, but what we lack in size we make up in unadulterated ingenuity, trust me. You name it, we can build it. And better than you thought possible. Who cares if you can take down a Flesh Reaver with just a couple of blows? I'll outsmart him and you in the process, you simpleton. Yeah, we got big floppy ears and bulgy eyes, but my elder says I'm handsome, and I can hear and see better than you nincompoops. It just means I see and hear more information than you can process in one gulp, so there. So being small, sometimes we need brawn around our labs. So, oh yeah, did I mention that we can build golems? Yep. They fight for us and do the manual labor so we can spend more time outthinking each other. But don't misinterpret me. We can hunt, we can wiggle our fingers and swing axes and fling arrows just like you half-wits, you smarty face. So anyway, thank you for visiting with me. I'm sorry I'm kinda busy, and I'm also sorry about breaking the news about us being better than you, but you'll get over it. Just don't mess with me, for brains. I'll systematically melt your face. Good day.
Let's go around the room real quick, because I really want to know this. I think we all have different reasons why we do it. So why would you recommend a listener listen to the show who's not in a guild join one for Guild Wars 2? Outside of the obvious. Well, it's named Guild Wars 2. Yes, I get that now. So let's go down the, what's the real reasons? I mean, the real, positive reasons why someone should really join a guild, especially in this game in general. And Denver, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
The major thing about joining a guild is that there's a lot of content that you cannot complete by yourself. There are a lot of things that you cannot do solo in this game. There are a lot of things you can, but for a lot of the higher level stuff and to really get involved in the community, I recommend joining a guild. It makes it easy to find a group. It makes it easy to go out and do things together. If you're having trouble with an objective, there's somebody that can always come and join you and help you out. It's having a support structure in game. And anytime you're part of a group, regardless what it is, every case study they do in sociology says if you're part of a group, whatever it is, you will be more successful, you'll be more engaged, and you're more likely to make good choices. If you know that you're joining a guild and they have a certain code of conduct or etiquette, and you're off spouting off in general chat and swearing and causing a lot of problems and griefing people and stuff, how long do you think that's going to last in a guild? Not very long. Right. So a lot of those people tend to sort of move away from the game eventually because nobody wants to play with them. Okay. So when you find a nice, tight-knit, close group of people that you can rely on and you can count on and you can have fun with, it creates that sense of community for the individual player. And I think that's the reason to join a guild, is because it's so much more fun. As Fish always says, it's not an experience if you can't bring someone along.
I like that. Grates, why join a guild?
Just for the community, the amazement of it. Especially in Guild Wars 2, you get so many more perks and abilities and special benefits of being in a large group and a large community. There's all kinds of influence points.
Right.
So, I mean, you can explore even more of the game with a group of people, as well as the fact that when someone on a different server is camping your body, you can tell all your friends where you are, and they can come just totally annihilate people, and then you can go camp him for half an hour.
Yeah,
that's what really makes it worth it.
It's always nice having that little, you can put up the signal flare and people come to your aid quickly.
Exactly.
That is kind of nice. I like that too. And Deborah, I liked your first point too of let alone joining a guild will just cut down your grouping time. Finding group times immensely.
Oh yes.
Is my guess. Kash, what are your thoughts on this?
Besides what's already been stated and besides the benefit that you get in game, one of the major reasons that I join and that I love to be around a gaming community is because if you've done your homework and if you've joined a guild of people who have similar interests as you, have a similar demeanor that you do, despite the fact that you may get spammed, especially in a game like this, if you're running around the starting area, you maybe get spammed with a couple of just random invites from guilds. And I just so disagree with that philosophy because there's no application process. The person doesn't know you. There's really no ability for that person to get to know you before they're just spamming invites out. Right. So if you've done your homework and you truly join a community of people who are similar to you, you're going to make friends. You're going to be able just to hop on. I mean, there's several times that people won't even be in game. They'll just be surfing the internet or, I don't have that much time, but they'll still take the time to hop into your voice over IP just to chat with you and see how you're doing. A lot of phone numbers get exchanged and, things that make people social. That's what's important to me. And it's like, for instance, we've done a couple of different charity events to benefit different things. When we have, in certain guilds that I've been a part of, including Old Republic Dads and MOG, we have a member that is having difficulty with something, the community will rally. And I mean, people really show that they're not just about gaming, but people will show that they're about supporting the other people that they've grown close to over the internet. And this, like I said before, these are people that you've never even met before.
Yep.
So you have that opportunity there to expand, your friendship to other people and reciprocate and be a party to other people in your life. And I mean, I'm sorry, but the people that I've met in MOG, the people that since we've formed MOG, the people that I've met in the Old Republic Dads through SWTOR, people that I've met through podcasting, most of whom I've never met in real life. I will be gaming with you guys for a long time because of guilds.
Yeah.
So that to me is what the community is all about, and that takes you way far away from just the game itself. The game is nothing but a vehicle for this social community, and that's what draws me in.
Interesting. So you're talking about joining a guild for a lot more than just in the game. You're talking about the whole social atmosphere outside of it.
No question.
Okay, cool.
Question.
I like that. Sir, Parasite, get in here.
All right, so I have to say, yes, everything that has been mentioned up to this point, totally agree with. But I would say the other thing is it adds a whole extra element to the game. I mean, there's so much that you can do solo in any MMO, but there's so much that you can only do with groups. And being in a guild will open so much more content to you. And if you've never been in a guild, you probably don't realize how much content you're actually missing out on. It's insane in MMOs how much stuff there is that's really just group specific. And that's not to say that you can't. If someone doesn't want to be in a guild, and just wants to play a game solo, you can still have a great time. But just try it out. If you've never done it, try it out, because I guarantee you will not turn back.
Parasite, would you say that people are encouraged to try new things that they might have never tried before if they're in a guild?
Yeah. And then, I mean, another thing too is the amount of help you'll get, especially for those solo players that haven't done anything guilding. I mean, if you're looking at crafting, all that stuff, you can't find mats. I mean, there's guaranteed someone in your guild that's going to go, oh, here, take this, take some money, take whatever to help each other out.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of take down some barriers to the game. I like that. I also like, well, I don't know. Let's just keep going around the room a little bit. Kel?
Well, for me, it's at its most basic level, an MMO is about playing with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play solo, I'd probably go and play like Deus Ex, or I'd play The Witcher, or some other game that's just on my computer by myself.
Skyrim.
The social, or Skyrim. When I play an MMO, it really helps me to play with other people, because that's where I get the enjoyment out of it. Because let's face it, the vast majority of MMOs, the grind and leveling is, well, just that, a grind. It's boring. But playing with someone else, it just changes up the whole dynamic.
Sure.
You develop stories as you just go and explore and do crazy stuff with people. And just, for me, just having that community of people that I can just have fun with and share the experience with enriches the whole game for me. It really makes it worth, the investment cost of it.
Okay. Tara, what do you think? Why join a guild?
Well, lots of reasons. One other reason, too, if you're a new player, you have a wealth of knowledge now at your disposal. Perfect. So if you have a question, there's definitely somebody who has already been through that, especially if you're in a larger guild. Mm-hmm. But there's usually people that have already experienced what you're going through, so they can provide some insight onto how to get your whatever it is that you want to accomplish, get that done. So I know that because during my first time, even through the beta, I had plenty of questions, and there were people that were on our chat channel that were able to provide that information for me, and that was very, very worthwhile in itself. And also, if you're the type of person who likes to help out other people, you're going to have that opportunity, because there's going to be noobs like me who will be there to be asking questions.
I think you hit a really important piece of joining a guild, because knowledge is so at your fingertips. You don't have to go put anything out in general chat and just keep your eye on it, waiting for the answer to finally pop up. You can pop right into your guild, go to your guild forums and say, I'm not sure how to do this, or what's the best way to go about that. And there's always going to be somebody with a really valid suggestion or some insight that might help you on your journey. I completely agree with that. I find also that in a guild, we always have those people who like to unravel the mysteries of the game. I believe in a guild that we're involved with right now, there's a guy who's already trying to figure out how to get to all the vistas in Guild Wars 2. All the jumping puzzles and stuff, and all right, I'm going to get all this stuff figured out. And I know that in other games, like Star Wars The Old Republic, where they had datacrons, we had guilds all the time that we were involved with going on the datacron runs. Okay, let's take 20 people, let's just go get them done, And I love those little weird events like that really makes guilding special and lets you really get through the whole game. I love that. It's a great point, Tara. Certos.
Oh, well, okay. Let me do it like this. Imagine logging in for world versus world versus world, PvP. You're by yourself. You get in, you're playing the game, you're having a lot of fun, and you do something cool, or you see someone else do something cool, or you want to congratulate them, or whatever. So you had that experience, but it's kind of difficult. You don't know anybody, et cetera, et cetera. Now imagine that same situation where it's a group of you, say 20, and you're on vent, and everybody's talking, and you have objectives, and you're like, okay, we're going to go take this, and we're going to get the siege weapon, and we're going to blow up this tower. Yeah. It makes a huge difference in this particular game, and actually that scenario can be applied to any MMO, with probably the exception of Eve, and even Eve. There's safety in numbers. It tells you that. it tells you in that player's guide. There's safety in numbers.
There is safety.
Join a corporation, which is their word for guild. So having a group of people, a gang maybe, if you want to call it that.
I'd call it a guild.
A guild. Same G word. Having a group of people and being under a certain banner makes the game, in my opinion, more fun.
Yeah.
And that's the whole, we go back to that community. You got to have community. It makes the game more fun. If you're going to play a MMO, you might as well join other people. Otherwise, you might as well play Skyrim, as we said earlier.
I have to agree with what you just said, Certos. I think the victories are sweeter and they're lived longer. Because if I'm a solo player and I'm the kind of the scenario that you described there, and I found that really interesting, was you kind of pictured myself as a solo player. I'm involved with everything, but I'm still, even though I'm involved with everything and all the cool stuff happens, I'm kind of on the outside looking in. But if I was in the guild on the voice chat, then I am like in the middle of the celebration of like, hey, you know, and we will live that victory for a week or 2 weeks down the road.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
I like that. That's really, that's very well put. To our guild master, Scubahsteve, why join a guild?
Basically, yeah, I like to reiterate what Kash and Tara both said about the social aspect and how she said that wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Imagine, and kind of going back to what we discussed earlier about the griefing, you can post up in either guild chat or go to your forums and post a question, whereas if you did in general chat, you'd likely to get a troll maybe. So, but in guild, you'll get that, you know, proper answer that you're looking for to be able to answer the question you had and not have to worry about, oh God, am I going to get trolled? I know me personally, when I wasn't in a guild before I started joining the community, especially with Old Republic Dads and Tor, and of course now leading Minions of Grenth, is having that atmosphere where you know you can ask and not be belittled.
Yeah, how many times if that happens to me a couple of times in general chat, I'm going to stop asking questions. And then I'm really going to feel isolated from the community. I like
exactly.
that. That's a good one, Steve. You know what else I like about guilds, Steve, is events. For some reason, I can't, you know, if I'm in a guild, guilds are always doing those random events. Like, hey, tonight we're doing this, and oh, hey, if you're not busy on Friday night, we're doing that. You know, really keeps the game more entertaining when we have a community of people who are foraging activities to do kind of outside of the general structure of the game. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally agree. I mean, we've had that kind of example with ORD in Tor, you know, and had just events that had nothing to do with the game in particular, but, you know, had a race here and there, which they don't have in the game. Right. You know, just doing things like that and having our own little, you know, PvP one-on-one tournament, those kind of things, you know, to try to pull the community together.
Yeah, it just sounds like a lot of fun. Grates, one last question for you. I've noticed that when I look at Guild Wars 2 and I look at the game systems, I see a lot of that public questing. I see the world versus world PvP, and then I see the structured PvP. But I see 2/3 of this game that are overwhelmingly trying to make the server one very large community broken up into smaller communities of guilds. Would that be an accurate statement?
I think it'd be a very accurate statement. You're all trying to help each other do a lot of fun things, and you're all trying to do your own goals at the same time. And, I mean, that's a format that a lot of guilds use, which is quite nice. And I think it's great that under especially like Mog Nation, we can take multiple guilds that decide to do their own thing and join them into one huge community.
Yeah. And that sounds like fun, you know, but it's just really with Guild Wars 2, I really see that, you know, as the server, they want the whole server to come together, you know, to solve problems and do things. And I think that's really kind of cool. I don't see a lot of other MMOs that really try to do that successfully. And I find that to be a really curious thing about this game.
Yeah.
So in the end, it sounds like, you know, guilds, guilding is a good idea. It really is, you know, from community to events to everything else. It's just a lot of fun. To be involved in a smaller group of people really dedicated to the game. In the end, Denver, let me ask you this question. Would you say that you know, we have that server-wide feeling of togetherness, but then we have the guilds, put those two together, is that going to help keep people engaged in this game for a long period of time?
Certainly. And I think with a large starting population, that is also going to help immensely. The more people get engaged and the earlier people get engaged, and the more content that sits out in front of them to continue to scratch and claw away at, the better off this game is going to be. And I certainly think we're in a good place.
I think it is important to mention, though, too, that there is a solo game out there. And especially with this game, you can play the game solo. You will eventually, though, limit yourself on some content. So if you want to experience the whole game, and if you want the richness of, you know, friendships, then I would say I definitely recommend to join a guild. But, you know, don't take us wrong. There is a solo game out there too.
Yeah, but remember, you paid your money. Play it however you want. It's right. I mean, there's no monthly fee So you paid the same money everybody else did to play the game. You want to play it solo? Knock yourself out. Join a guild? Knock yourself out. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can start out solo and then join a guild. Whatever's easiest for you, whatever you like the most, play it your way.
How is the contest going for deciding your race and character class?
Oh, it's going well. There's a fierce battle going on right now.
What are the top contenders right now, buddy?
Well, for my profession, it's really coming down to the choice of two. People are really pushing for Mesmer and Engineer.
Oh, I'm a
There are
Mesmer
a
guy.
few that are trying to get Ranger up there, but frankly, it's between those two right now. They're ahead by about 3 to 4 votes each.
Uh-huh.
Which is a big span in the current numbers. If a lot more people started voting, though, well, everything's going to turn around. The race options are the ones that is by far the closest.
Okay.
Right now, we have 4 all within 2 votes of each other.
Okay.
Norn, Char, Sylvari, and Asura are all really close.
Nice.
With currently Sylvari just edging out Char and Asura. But Norn is making a comeback. It's coming up there, so if you wanted me to play a giant, there's still a chance.
I love it. So far we're looking at the choice between an Engineer and a Mesmer. Engineer's just necking it out, and then the Sylvari is the leader right there. But it's not over yet. This contest is running all the way up until the week of launch. So get in there and vote for Kel's race and class. Kash, tell us, how can we get there?
You got to join the Mog Nation. Come on over to www.mog-nation.com. Check out the community, drop in an app, and join us.
Absolutely. Get in on this contest. The winner, the people who choose the winning race and class, we will then be putting your hat in the drawing for a free t-shirt from Typefrag, which actually just says, winner, winner, chicken dinner. So if you want to be a winner, join the Mog Nation at mog-nation.com and join us in voting for Kel's class and race of character that he'll be playing in the game. Now that we've talked about why you should join a guild, why don't we meet a couple of guilds? Today, we've been very pleased to be joined by Scubahsteve, who is Guildmaster of Minions of Grenth, but maybe a little-known fact that not everyone here that listens to the Siege knows about. But one of our very own cast members is the leader of a section of a guild dedicated to Guild Wars 2 as well, which is our very own Grates. So why don't we just take a few minutes and talk a little bit about your respective guilds. Grates, why don't you start off? Talk to us a little bit about the First Order.
The First Order, as a lot of you may know, is started out in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and it's simply an amazing guild and a group of people. We have activities every week that you can do. There's unique opportunities within the guild, advancing in rank. We're a fun, friendly bunch of people. We have raiding, we have PvP. It's just whatever you could possibly think of, and good group of people. Oakley, you all know Oakley. He's in TFO as well. So I couldn't have asked for a better community to fall into when I first started playing Star Wars, and I'm very happy to bring it over to Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are you at right now in terms of recruitment? Are you guys wide open to start doing that?
We are wide open for recruitment for Guild Wars 2, so please come, flood our application process. I love making our admin officers do lots of work. It's always so much fun.
Sure. And can we talk a little bit? Are you West Coast, East Coast time based? What are we looking at?
We are a West Coast based server. Believe it or not, I'm in Central time, but I find my, I get home from work schedule and have dinner, then log in. By the time I log in, it's like 7, 8 o'clock my time, which is, 5, 6 o'clock West Coast. So I fit in a lot better in the West Coast bracket of being able to do things, which I really like to do.
Nice. Steve, talk to us a little bit about the Minions of Grenth.
All right. Much like Grates, our guild kind of stemmed from, when Mog Nation was created.
Yep.
I came from Old Republic Dads and Tor, and a few other people came with me. I've been waiting on this game for a few years.
Yeah.
So when Kash mentioned about someone taking up Guild Wars 2 chapter for Mog Nation, I immediately jumped on the chance. I love the game that's coming out. I've had a real good time leading in Old Republic Dads with Tor. So I really took the opportunity to come in here and try to also build this community of kind of like Kash. I kind of like building that community. So we started off, we're a family-friendly guild. We like to have fun. We're going to have, probably going to be really based on a lot of World v. World.
Yeah.
But we're also going to be doing PvE. We'll be doing groups. We'll be putting together events on the server, doing different things like that. So we're also open for recruitment.
Oh, you are you? Wide open?
Yes, we are.
Just taking anybody coming in, huh?
Reluctantly to say, yes, we are open.
Now, is Minions of Grenth more of an East Coast or a West Coast based time zone type of server?
Right now, I think we're just kind of spread across the nation.
Yep.
We even have a couple of people from Europe. We have one guy from New Zealand. We're kind of spread out right now.
Okay. Sounds good. So, guys, let's talk a little bit about the guilds that you guys run. I mean, obviously, you're both members of the Mog Nation, which we are very happy to have you guys in there with us. Let's talk a little bit about events, things like that. What are some early plans that you guys have right off the bat for when the game launches, just to get the community that you have excited about playing the game and working together?
We're going to Zerg World versus World PvP. I mean, it's not even going to be pretty. You are going to cringe and feel for the other servers the first day that we go against them.
Okay.
It's going to be like we're all level 5. We'll go in there with basic weapons, and we're just going to have like 100 of us and good old time.
War of attrition. We have more than you. We will win.
It's all that matters, just to get those early bonuses and start off the game with a lot of nice stuff.
Sure. Oh, I get it. Are you going to have a planned World v. World night, Grates?
Oh, yes. We will definitely be running a lot of planned World versus World nights.
Okay, cool. What about you, Steve? Any big plans right off the bat?
We're pretty much in that same situation. Yep. I have a lot of my guildmen, probably at least 2/3 of our guild, and that's being conservative, are really wanting to hit World v. World running. Yeah. We're going to be planning on also having some World v. World nights, probably at least set aside 2 nights a week.
Wow.
But I know people that are going to be doing it 7 nights a week. So
yeah.
We're going to have a lot of people that are really in. We have a crew coming from Lotro that are very big into PvP, and they are wanting to play World v. World so bad. We played in the last beta weekend together, and we're really looking forward to it when the game launches.
That's a lot of fun. That World v. World, let me talk to you guys. I mean, you guys are leaders of guilds. Is that going to be a real big sticking point for your community that constantly just keep pushing that? I mean, do you think that's going to keep people invested in the game for a long period of time?
I think those big epic battles are what makes the game really fun, especially when you get to PvP and raiding. I mean, for me, the little 10-man fights where you're 10 people versus 10 people, I just don't like it. That's always been my personal preferences. I'm sure if you've listened to the show for a long time, you've heard that. But when you get into the large epic scale battles of 40, 80 people versus 40 or 80 people, that's when you start getting on a lot of fun, and anything can happen at that point. You could have all 40 people push at something, and then all of a sudden be pushed by 80 people back. So it's a great deal of fun having those epic scale battles. I think it's really going to help draw in a lot of people and a lot more of the community with that many people involved in everything.
I think it's worth mentioning too that the original plan is to have both both TFO and Minions of Grenth being part of the Mog Nation. The original plan is to have everybody on the same server. So we're going to have representation on the West Coast, representation on the East Coast and Central. So we're probably going to pick a server where we're on the same server. So we'll have that representation for Mog and both those guilds all the time. So, it's just going to expand the amount of hours that we're going to be able to get in there and have fun doing the World v. World stuff. And I think that in itself, having 2 like-minded guilds with the same voice servers and people that know each other or getting to know each other is going to be a lot of fun. Being able to all get in there and really, I hate to use the word Zerg, but Zerg the battlefield, that's where the fun's going to lie.
Kash, you really brought up a good point there, because this is kind of a radical experiment we're trying here, and I'd really like to hear from Grates and Steve on that. I mean, there's some challenges here, but there's some rewards. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts of trying to put two guilds and have them work together on the same server, doing the same thing and same goals? Is that, I mean, what are your thoughts on that so far, guys?
I love it.
Oh, it's going to be excellent.
We're going to have a good old time just working together, working in our group. And that's what I also love about Mog Nation is, you know, TFO has always been an autonomous guild where we've always been doing our own thing and, you know, having our own good time. But we've also always been welcoming other people into our communities, talking to other guilds, you know, building communities there too. And with Mog Nation, we can get under the same banner and meet guilds like Steve's guild here. And we're just going to, you know, join up right there under basically the same Mog Nation banner.
Absolutely. Questions I got to ask, guys. Are we going to be looking at doing some structured PvP? Are you guys got some groups getting ready to form up for that as well?
Yes. I know we have one of our structured PvP, I should say structured, but one of our ranked Warzone PvP groups that are actually going to be switching over from Tor that have come to Minions of Grenth looking forward to both the World v World and the structured PvP. Mm-hmm. And they're more of that hardcore PvP group, and they're really looking forward to trying it out and seeing what it's all about, and I'm really looking forward to see how it all goes.
I know somebody else who's sitting in this room right now who would really like to do some structured PvP, and it's not me. So who else could that be, I wonder?
I don't know.
Cough, Denver, cough.
You're looking at me? What's going on? I don't know anything about PvP.
Wake up.
I'm twisting a mustache, if you can't tell.
That's it.
Nice.
Dever, you excited about putting a team together, buddy?
Oh, hell yeah. It's time for people to learn some respect. It's time for people to get broken in ways that they didn't think was possible, and it's time to shoot arrows through a ring of fire.
Now, were you just looking at the mirror the whole time you were saying that?
Maybe.
What's it to you?
I need to learn some respect and get broken, because you know what? I think in structured PvP that's going to happen a lot to a lot of us. So, yeah, that's going to be fun.
I imagine it will. But, you know, the fact that you can go into this earlier in the game and that you can do a full team right away and that you can start learning how to play with the classes that your friends are playing and that you guys can actually have a group cohesion and start right away is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Most games don't do that. They go, "Oh no, you can have friends. You can but you can only have 3 friends. That's
Absolutely.
it. You and 3 friends. Timmy in the corner, he can't come. He's not coming with you. Leave him over there. He's not high enough level, or he doesn't have the right skills, or the yada yada yada."
Yeah.
This way, everybody can come. And especially the world PvP stuff. Oh, how many friends do you have? 200? Doesn't matter. Bring them all. Bring them all in.
There's enough room for everybody at that party, isn't there?
Exactly. Yeah, and
I love
that's
that.
a big fan, you know, and I think a lot of people like that, you know. I think it really gets the crowd going. Come on. It gets people really excited about it. See, look,
it gets Grates going.
Horrible. Steve, Grates, let's talk a little bit about PvE in this game. It seems to be the least talked about in the game right now. We so focus on this PvP stuff, but this PvE stuff, we're talking 80 levels of content here, and the last time I checked, 8 dungeons to master as well. What are the plans guild-wise that you guys are kind of putting together right now to help conquer this content with your communities?
We're supposed to have plans?
Nice.
Well, with the game that's really focused on the World v World and the PvP aspects of it, I know a lot of people don't look at the PvE part of it. Excuse me. But, you know, you say 8 dungeons, but when you really get down to it, the way they have the initial run in the dungeon is a story mode, and then you go back to play it again, and you got to be 4 or 5 levels higher to play that same dungeon in Explorer mode. Exploration mode allows you to go 3 different directions minimum, some of them more. So you're talking about 32 different dungeons to run.
Wow.
So when you really come down to it, so there is a lot of content, more than any other MMO that's out there. Even, you know, the powerhouse that is still alive and kicking right now. I'm not even going to mention the name. But,
wow.
You know, you think about 32 dungeons.
Right.
Now, granted, it's only 5-player, but it's challenging.
Yeah.
Then they might not have the big raids, but inside of an instance. But you're talking about having raid bosses. The Shatter at around level 50. Fighting the dragons that are going to be at the end when we get to end game. Those type of things that are going to be open, in the world. Now that's a raid.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you on that. And I think that, in the end, I have a feeling, and I know Grates speaks in jest because I know Grates is constantly thinking about organizing things in his guild. But my guess is that are we going to start seeing some, especially with the systems in place here, to benefit each guild for people grouping together? Do you think that we're going to start seeing some pretty organized PvE events, especially when it comes to those dungeons?
Very much so. There's going to be some dungeon runs, social runs, things to get members of the community together, and things to get members of our own guilds together and working with each other, because the more you can foster a community within a guild, the longer it's going to last and the longer it's going to be there, and the more fun you're going to have in general.
And the more I think it'll grow, don't you think, Grates?
Very much so. If you're large, you're active, and having a good time, people are going to want to join into that.
All right, so, by this point in time, I'm sure there's going to be some listeners that are saying, wow, I need to be part of one of these two fantastic guilds. So let's just go ahead and talk about where you guys are located at, but also after that, talk about, what makes your guild a great guild to join. What would make it, why would someone would really want to come and become a part of the First Order or the Minions of Grenth? I mean, I know that everyone, just so everyone knows also, Minions of Grenth into the First Order is also the home for every member of the cast of this show. So, these are the communities that we're going to be running with throughout the game, and we really want to give some time and feature them. So, guys, go ahead and start off. Whoever wants to start with it, go ahead and talk about your respective guild, where to find it, and why you're special.
It has me there. That's why. That's all you need.
Oh, my Lord. That's bad. That's bad. Nice.
No,
thank you, Denver.
It's because we're a great community of people. We've always been more concerned about our members, how they enjoy their games, than anything else in the game. We have people from all walks of life, everything you can enjoy, have fun. It's a great home to people, and I think Minions of Grenth is going to be pretty much equaling on this one. We organize events, we keep things bustling in the community, and keep trying to just have a good time overall.
So where do you find the First Order at, Grace?
You find the First Order at thefirstorder.engine.com.
Nice. Very good. Steve, sell me on the Minions of Grenth. Wait, I'm already sold. Sell somebody else.
Well, number one reason, Grates is not in it. But
oh yeah!
Wow! Woo! I had to come back with that one.
Good.
Give that man a prize.
I say it all the time, but you're right.
Oh man!
You're either gonna love me or hate me, and obviously Steve hates me, but that's okay. I hate you all.
That was beautiful.
We love Grates at Minions as well. No, but that was all in fun, my brother.
Yeah.
But no, on a serious note, much like what Grates said, we are into that friendly atmosphere, everybody having fun, not taking things overly serious, just having a great group and great community, putting together events. Not just for ourselves, but actually pulling other people out of the community, and not just necessarily for recruitment purposes, but just to get that sense of community on the server and people playing together, especially the way Guild Wars 2 has it set up, where our whole world against another world against another world. I mean, we have to pull together as a server. I mean, the only time we're going to be going against each other is structured PvP. And I think that's just going to be more of a friendly competition, across each other on that same server. But that's pretty much it.
Where do we find the Minions of Grenth at, Steve?
You can find the Minions of Grenth at mog-gw2.engine.com.
Nice. Kash, talk to us a little bit, because I'm sure if any of our listeners might be confused and not sure which community they'd like to join, how could they find a way to talk to both communities?
A way to talk to both communities, actually a way to view both communities, would be to go to mog-nation.com, and that's going to bring you to the greater community at Mog Nation, which is basically a multi-gaming community. that is centered around folks with the similar thought process. You know, we're open, we're adult gamers, we're not looking to grief, we're just looking to have a good time and do everything together, and we're looking to do that across a wide variety of games. So of course, you know, we're going to have our focuses, our foci in the different games that are coming out, and we're probably going to be playing the big ones. And right now it's SWTOR and GW2. There's a lot of people migrating over to GW2 right now, so there are links for both the First Order and for Minions of Grenth on both. So go check out both websites, you know, see where you think you'd mesh, and join up. And in the process, join up at Mog Nation. You know, it's our goal is to have you join a community where you're never going to have to look for a guild again, because it's going to be the same community of people playing in different games. You're going to start seeing the same faces and start developing some really cool relationships. And, you know, once you get bored with a game, move on to the next one, because chances are we're going to have a chapter at Mog.
So I was buying a copy of Guild Wars 2 for a friend as a gift, and I couldn't help but marvel at all the different options I have today of editions of the game to buy. You know, back in my day when I first started playing MMOs, you had two quick options. You could buy the regular edition for those of us who just like to play the game, or you could buy the collector's edition for those of us who had to have useless in-game items and art books and fancy boxes to go along with our games. Because God knows, everyone likes to take breaks during the middle of a MMO launch to look at art books. Or maybe they just put the art book in there because they knew their servers were going to be down a lot because their launches sucked back then too. But you know, I couldn't help but notice this digital deluxe edition. It's like the middle of the road. It's like, what if the collector's edition and the regular edition had sex? That's their kid. The middle of the road digital deluxe edition. For those of us who don't like art books but really like useless in-game items. I find it to be fantastic. I also find it interesting at how much they're adding to collector's editions nowadays. No, it's not an art book, it's a making of book, which is like an art book, but with words. Because God knows I want to read a book too while I'm sitting around trying to play a game. On top of this, I love the fact that they keep putting figurines and statues in there, trying to make me feel like I'm going to get a lot more bang for my buck. But I notice also they put a lot more bucks on the price tag of the game. You know, in the end, I look at the three options and I can't help but compare it to the gas pump. I've always got three options there too. And here's what I've learned. No matter which grade of gas I choose, what I notice is my car still runs, with fancy detergents or not. So I just stick with the cheap stuff, because all I really need in the end is something I know I could put in my system and it runs time and time again. So that's my 2 copper for this week, and thanks for listening. Okay, since we've been talking a lot about guilds, we've been talking a lot about community, I think it's really important that we actually focus a little time on the system centered around the community and the guild system in Guild Wars 2, and that's the influence system. Grates, can you give us a quick rundown on what the influence system really is going to entail?
The influence system is going to entail basically points that your guild earns. It's a guild benefit system. Points your guild earns can be used to increase your amount of items dropped, increase the amount of stuff that XP that you gain, things like that throughout the entire game system. Amount of benefits you get from the world versus world PvP, so on and so forth. It's a guild achievement system with benefits.
Cal, how does one contribute to the influence system? Can any player, as long as they're in a guild, start contributing to influence?
Yes, they can. According to what I read, because I'm a complete noob about this game.
Hi, noob.
Hi. Even joining a guild can contribute towards the influence. Am I correct on that?
Yep.
Did I read that correctly?
You did.
So, I mean,
Correct.
even just joining a guild contributes to the guild.
That's absolutely nuts. I love it. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk about the system in general a little bit, guys. I mean, we get this whole system of influence that's created so that everyone as a guild can kind of contribute. Now, we've seen some stuff kind of like this before, but this is kind of its own original creature, wouldn't you all say?
Yeah, you know what I like? I like the fact that they break it down into different types of things that you can buy. So if you want to increase your world versus world accolades, you can do so by buying Art of War upgrades. If you want to increase your guild's politics, you can do so by purchasing politics upgrades. There's also economy upgrades for buffs for crafting and such, architecture for things that you build. So it's pretty in depth. It's very boisterous, and I like that a lot because and I would imagine that they're just setting the foundation for different things they can expand on.
Oh, they're going to add to this.
Oh, yeah, they have to, and some of the stuff is really pretty darn cool. The one that caught my eye was the guild banquet under politics. Spawns a banquet table, keg, and various it says keg, hello, and various other party items which players can eat and drink from for 1 hour. That is screaming guild event right there.
Oh, it is.
You know what I mean? So it's like little stuff like that, and there's a bunch of stuff like that in there. It's cool.
I mean, I just foresee, welcome to the Mog Nation Oktoberfest. We've got our tables all lined up, and we're getting ready to party. Why don't you come join us?
Totally.
It's got this whole line of freaking tables just popping up in the middle of the world somewhere, everyone just drinking, having a good time.
Or guild leader meetings. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Who would want to? We're going to have a real live guild leader meeting somewhere at some location, at some wherever they decide to do it, and pop down one of those tables, and they have a guild meeting while their characters in game are sitting there drinking. I don't know. Those are the crazy things that go through my head.
I love it. Diver, what do you think about a system like this?
I think that while all of you are enjoying a pint and looking at the girl bringing it to you, I'm going to be over in the Art of War section sharpening my battle axe. Because that's exactly where every single dime and dollar of any influence that I can lay on the Mog Nation will lie. Art of War is for world versus world buffs.
Yep.
Let's all enjoy that. How about plus 10% experience? Anybody for plus 10% experience?
All for it.
Hell yes.
I love this, how they've really included every aspect of the game in it, too. I mean, the fact of the matter that as a guild leader, here's Grates and Steve, and they can say, let me just ask the guild leaders then. Steve, Grates, does a system like this help not only in keeping the guild invested, but does it help in, event planning as well?
It helps in every aspect of the game. It helps keep your people there. It helps you boost the guild. It helps more events because then hey, I'm going in with these buffs, so I'm in pretty good shape, or I'm not going in with these buffs, so I need to get more going for me.
Definitely, and also it actually encourages people to go out and do events and things like that because it'll earn influence for the guild.
Yeah, I love this because I just envision, when we look at all these different aspects, I can just envision a schedule on a guild saying, okay, just so everyone knows on, from Thursday to Friday, we're going to be buffing everyone's crafting. So everyone get out and craft, or things like that. We could really start directing the community to kind of accomplish goals, couldn't we?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a fun little system. Tara, what are your thoughts when you look at the influence system? Do you like it?
Yeah, that's what I was actually thinking about is having, you could set up a PvP night to have everybody's, get together and work on, increasing, say, their influence earned by PvP by 10% for 24 hours. Not bad. But also, I was looking at the guild siege suit that is in the Art of War. Because what I've seen on videos, those look fun.
Oh, the robots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The guild siege suit. I love that.
The guild siege suit. Yes.
I hope it has the
I
symbol.
didn't sound like Cindy Brady when I said that.
The guild siege suit. So fun. I think this is a really cool system. I like this system a lot. I think this is something that a lot of MMOs have been missing for a long time. And too many MMOs, I think, ignore this. Certas, would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Wow, thanks a lot for that.
Thanks, Certas.
That helped. A lot of meat with those potatoes there.
What? Kind of how I see this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you've seen guild achievements before, and just achievements in game. I mean, this is taking an achievement system to a whole nother level. I mean, you have so much extra to work for that's actually going to benefit the guild, the players of it, and everybody actually gets to work together to achieve this stuff. So it's amazing. I mean, it's almost something that I think all MMOs from now on have to look at this and go, okay, we got to have something like this system.
I agree. It's something that makes everyone work towards a common goal.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this really is such a unique system. Let's go and start breaking it down a little bit. Like Kash has already kind of pointed out, it breaks into a few different categories. And now, hold on, let me ask a few questions out here. I know, Steve, you've been playing with this a little bit. Now, is it just the guild leader who has control of this?
No, actually, you can assign any officers. You can, just like many other guild setups in other games, you can set different permissions for your officers, senior officers, or however you have it set up, and they can actually help do the research. So if you're not on when one completes and you've already decided, hey, go ahead and start this one, I'm going to be gone for the weekend, then they'll queue up the next one. But you can also, if you have a bunch of influence, especially with a larger guilds like we're going to have, the influence is going to build fast. You can actually use influence to speed up that research and get it done even quicker.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Nope.
Oh, that's absolutely insanity.
That's if they carry it over in the launch.
Right. Well, and this is what I find crazy is I don't know if anyone else is looking at this, but anytime you see something that you can, a perk you can get, there's a time frame it takes you to get it. Is that right, Steve? Am I right here? Like, if I'm going to increase my Art of War level 1 and it's cost 500, it's going to take me 16 hours to get that completed?
Normally, yes. But if you have extra influence, it costs so much influence to, say, speed it up by 4 hours. So then it drops down to 12. Oh, I have enough influence. Let me pay it, knock it down to 8. Let me knock it down to 4. And then if I still have enough, I can complete it right then and there.
I'm really smelling an EVE Online thing here. I don't know if anyone else is.
Yeah, very much so. It does remind me of that.
I love
definitely smelling. I'm smelling what the Rock is cooking.
Well, oh man, really? Now professional wrestling comments? That's absolutely insanity. Smelling what the Rock is cooking.
What? Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic system.
It is going to be a fantastic system. I agree with you on this. Go ahead, Cal.
I have a very noobish question.
Go.
I mean, I know this is similar to some other systems in other games, but how will all of this affect me as an individual player within a guild?
Okay.
Because it's all kind of out there and esoteric for me right now.
Oh, I guess I'll go ahead and try to answer this one.
Do it.
Well, Kel, what it would benefit for the individual or just the regular member is, say we research into Art of War 1, and then we go ahead and do a research for increased influence for 24 hours. Now, it takes 24 hours to get that, but the great thing about it is you don't have to worry about timing it to when it's exactly done research that it starts. It actually puts it kind of in a bank, I guess you can say, and you have to actually manually activate it. So guild leader or an officer can actually do these other buffs, I guess you can say, and hold on to them until designated World v. World night and pop this up and say, here we go, increase influence, increased XP, whatever, increase supplies, whatever we want to do, and that helps the individual. If you do economy, say you're going out gathering because you want to craft. I have the buff for, say, increased, items whenever you harvest. You go up to harvest, tree or a mine or whatever that, and you get extra items for you to be able to craft with.
And these are guild-wide buffs?
Yes.
Yes, these are guild-wide buffs.
So let's go down a few of these and just kind of explain them to the player base, the listeners, if you haven't looked at these before. We'll start with politics, and political upgrades include guild emblems, guild armor, buffs to increase influence gain, and then party items. Now, Kash, you already talked about the guild banquet table, which I think is absolutely a classic. Spawning a table with party items which players can eat and drink from for 1 hour. That's awesome.
Yeah. It is awesome, and that to me is them. That's their attempt at bringing some more of the social aspect into the game, and like I've mentioned before ad nauseum, that's my draw. That's what I love to see, and I think that's what a lot of the other players is really going to draw them into that community. And it is Guild Wars, so having little things like that's going to be great. But I mean, they have something in there on each of those lists to satisfy every play style. Pure crafter, pure PvPer, pure PvEer, anything. It's there.
Oh, I love some of these. I mean, plus 20% dungeon influence for 24 hours on politics. Guild weapons contract allows guild members to purchase weapon items that display the guild emblem. I mean, that's awesome. Let's let's see, what's another fun one I saw there? Plus 10 influence from events. The guild armor contract allows guild members to purchase armor that displays the guild emblem on your armor. I mean, seriously, does this not sound like cool stuff that people are going to want in the game?
There are a few things that I have been eyeballing on this list since I got it, and let me tell you, the armor and the weapons with the guild emblem on it are two of them, but the big one from a PvP perspective, and even a PvE in some cases, Road Marker spawns a guild road marker that will give you 20 seconds of swiftness to any ally that touches it. Oh, hey, we're getting ready to move to a different point on the world map. Road marker. Everybody touch it. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That looks
And
sweet.
you don't have to be a guild member either. You're just anybody on your server.
Right, which is cool. I mean, there's some of these, like the guild banner that gives you plus 5% karma buff to any ally that touches it for 30 minutes. So everyone can join it.
Well, I mean, just look at the speed one. I mean, say you want to talk about building community and building relations with other people. Say somebody's running away from, you just happen to be in the area when somebody else is trying to run away from a mob. Drop that thing in front of them, let them touch it, they'll be gone.
Absolutely. And
they'll remember that. You know what? That guy from Mog just dropped that thing down and helped me survive. That was cool.
I get you on that one. Tara, give me some other ones that you might have seen on here that really stick out to you.
The plus 10% magic find for 72 hours.
Where's that at? Under what?
That is under economy.
Oh, right, yeah, which includes guild-wide buffs for increasing item drop rates, karma or experience gain, and other economic boosts. And a plus 10% magic find for 72 hours.
Yep.
That's absolutely awesome. 72 hours, guild members have a 10% better chance to find rare loot. Traveling antique shows are great. Really?
That's all a Diablo right there.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I love it.
Anything else in the economy thing that really sticks out to anybody?
So when we look at all of these and they say, for 12 hours, this is going to give whatever. And it costs 200 and it takes this time to unlock that.
Yep.
Does that mean that you have to run 36 hours, let's say, and pay 200 cost every time you want that 12 hours?
Yep.
That is correct.
Interesting. Very interesting. So how fast will you be earning these influence points?
That's the kicker. It's not the fastest in the world. It takes a long time to build this kind of stuff up. So you do have a lot of time and an effort involved in getting it, but once you do get the perks of it, that's when you get, the enjoyment. They haven't given an exact rate. I have a feeling it's still being tweaked a little bit, especially on there was a big difference between the beta weekend 1 and beta weekend 2 on, how it was doing. But right. I think we'll have a nice amount of balance in there as far as this goes.
There's actually a little key in there. If you look at the wiki, there's a little key in there that shows you what the cost of some of the items are. Well, actually, on the graphs, it'll show you what the cost, and most of them are like 50, 500, 100, 1,000. Some of them are 5,000. But it shows too that like you'll get 2 influence points for guild members completing an event or something part of a personal storyline. You get plus 5 for individual guild members winning a PvP match. You get plus 10 for each accepted guild invitation, so you have a bunch right off the bat right there. And then you get plus 10 for each member who is online during something they call an attendance check. And there was not really that much information on Wiki about what an attendance check is.
Steve, do you know anything about the attendance check?
No, I have not heard anything about it and seen anything available to that as well. I'm guessing it probably has something to do with maybe World v. World.
Yeah.
That's just my assumption.
Yeah, I would imagine that's okay, man. It's probably something, and this is just my opinion, it's speculation only, that the attendance check would maybe be something that could be done on quite a long cooldown, but something that only like a guild leader or guild officer would have access to, and it would probably have something to do with the raid. So, you have a full raid, you do an attendance check, and for each of those members in there, you get plus 10 influence points. So, I mean, if you have some of these ways to gain influence, there's a lot of ways if you did a little bit of planning, you could gain influence fairly quickly.
Well, it seems to me like the attendance check might be a system they put into place, like a kind of a management system to where like a leader or an officer in a guild, when he knows the peak time that the majority of his guild's going to be on, he can hit that and get a quick boost of influence and start doing some research and things like that. That's how I look at it.
Right.
kind of like a
cool
maintenance
system.
Oh,
it's a neat system. It's gonna be cool.
It is an awesome system. I'm really excited about it. I mean, at Denver, I know you love looking at all this World v. World stuff. This is absolutely insane. Like, you get +5 to supply for 12 hours. Just all this +40 to power, toughness, vitality. You can actually get something that allows you to do multiple upgrades on a keep at the same time.
Yeah, let me just tell you, in the Mog Nation Parliament or in the House of Mog, the PvP caucus will be pushing greatly for the Art of War upgrades, if you will. I know that I'll be leaning on Scubahsteve over here and letting him know that, no, I hate to tell you, we're going to need more of that +5 supply. Nope, the +10 magic, it's got to come in first. I don't know what to tell you. We can't have another table. We have to have the magic find.
Well, he said caucus.
Well, yes, he did. I got to ask this. So, what do you think? I mean, what's the best strategy to employ the influence system? Is it going to be in the best interest of a guild to get through all the researches first, or is it going to be in the best interest to start compiling some of these buffs early?
Research. Okay. Open it all up to yourself, and then whatever you want to do, you have it available to you. That would be my recommendation: is open up all 5 levels for each of these so that you have access to everything, and then you can pick and choose which ones you like. Unless you see, you go, oh, level 5 is something that's silly and we don't need on, architecture or something like that, and you go, oh, we're not going to use that. Well, then save the influence on it. But if you think you're going to use all the way through level 5 on any of those, open them up first, and then you can use them as many times as you want.
Here's a little tip for guilds. If you run a guild, this would be a very good thing to get into your forums ASAP, so people are thinking in this direction right away and they understand what the influence system is. Because if you have the entirety of your guild working toward this stuff, even in small little ways, if they understand what the points are, they understand what the things that you can get for it. They're going to inadvertently start working toward those things as they're on their level grinds, and that's going to help you immensely in the end.
Well, and you also have to start looking at this little fact too. So 5 + 5 for an individual guild member's PvP match victory. So if you're in a 5-man team in structured PvP, there's 25 influence every time they win a match. Yeah, as long as everyone's in the same guild. I know that there's somewhere, and I can't remember where I read that, but Steve, if I'm right on this, but if your guild groups together, even in PvE, that bumps your influence up, your gain up too, doesn't it?
That is correct. Say you're running around just doing PvE, running around doing the dynamic events. And if you're running by yourself, of course, like I said, you get so many points per person. But if you're running in an actual partied up with guild members, up to 4, I think, is where you get the maximum benefit, but why not have your 5th person in there? But you get in there, and it actually increases exponentially. Instead of that amount per person, you actually get bonus.
I mean, this system is just radical, man. I mean, because and Kash, you really said it well here. You've got to get your entire guild thinking in terms of this metagame now. We've got to start really thinking in terms of gaining influence from day one. This isn't something that we just say, just kind of when you get around to it. So this is really going to encourage communities to engage and group together and do things. Am I wrong here?
No, I think you're 100% right. There's people within guilds that are going to be the leaders within the game because they understand these systems, and they're going to be your go-to people that folks ask questions about, like we were talking about earlier. And then there's going to be folks that just log on. They don't have the time in the day to be able to research the game. They just want to get on and play for a couple hours. So if you take those people and you lead them by the hand and say, hey, just look at this post. This is a really short explanation of what's going on and the things that we can get. And they start off with that mindset, with that community mindset in mind, where they know that all I have to do is do this, or all I have to do is take this quest, and I can do, or do one PvP match a night, and I can gain the guild this or that. At least they'll be on that footing, so they can manipulate their game time around that if they want to contribute to the guild. So they just need to understand the system. So the earlier they understand the system, the better off you're going to be in the long run, because they're going to help.
Now, there is one other thing that I wanted to point out, because I've been looking into this. There is another way you can earn influence, and it's using in-game money. So what happens is for 10 silver, you get 10 points of influence. You have to go to what's called a guild promoter, and you basically just buy it directly from them. So here's how it works. They've done a very cool little thing where you are buying the influence of the people in the cities you're going to.
Nice.
So it's not they've actually built it in as a cool little mechanic. So here's the things that you can purchase. A toast to the guild. For the cost of a few drinks, we'll toast your guild and increase your guild's influence.
Nice.
That's 10 silver and you get 10 influence points. But there's more. Drinks on the house. Purchase drinks for the nearby villagers, compliments of your guild. That costs 1 gold and gives you 100 influence. Drinks for the city. Enough alcohol to share with the entire city. A night of celebration of everyone's favorite guild. That's 10 gold and gives you 1,000 influence. And then the best one, the pinnacle, the coup de grace, drinks for a week. The citizens of the surrounding area won't soon forget your guild's generosity as you host a week of revelry and celebrate your achievements. 100 gold and 10,000 influence.
Wow. That's going to get kind of pricey on the money thing, though, because because PvE, when we've been playing it, boy, money doesn't just fall down from the trees so quickly now, does it?
No, by no stretch of the imagination. And now I do think that, as in all games, it'll scale up when you get higher up, but I still know, based on the cost of creating some of these siege weapons and things like that, a gold is a lot. So to be able to spend 100 gold is a serious investment, and you have to really want that. Yeah, everybody's really got to chip in and be doing things on a daily basis and chipping into the coffers to hawk over that kind of chunk of change.
Absolutely. Parasite, talk to me. What are the ramifications of a system like this in game?
I don't know if there's any negative sides of it. I mean, other than people.
I am not saying negative. I'm just saying, just in general. What's this going to? I mean, in game, what are we going to really be seeing when we see launch and people are really working the system?
Well, it's just going to have it's almost a game within a game. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is going to be something that people are going to be focusing kind of outside of just regular questing and PvP. I mean, it's going to definitely change the way guilds are run. That this is going to be where it's more of, instead of just organizing a raid or a PvP night, I mean, there's, like we're saying, it's going to be guilds talking to each other saying, this is what we're going to work on. We're going to focus on this. And it's really, I think, going to bring the community together because you're working towards a common goal. And I think it's something that's going to definitely, it's going to be awesome to see. And it's going to also add, I mean, everybody always says anytime an MMO launch, it's first guild to level cap and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of new firsts with people just rushing to get the most use of this system.
Talk to me, Certas. This system rewards the active guild members, not necessarily the large guilds. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's definitely a system where you could have 1,000 people in your guild, or 500 if it's the max. But if all 500 aren't playing, then you really only have a guild of however many people that are active. Now, this could cause another problem where guilds will, if a guild is trying to get to, as Parasite said, race to the end, they might, if you don't log in every day, or it might lead to a guild saying, well, you have to log in 3-4 times a week, or you have to have a certain amount of play in order to put in your fair share of influence. That could be a negative side of it, but for the most part, I think this is a system that's going to have compact guilds that want to be compact and active have a chance, and this is the encouragement to do so.
Grates, talk to me a little bit. Is this going to discourage guilds from allowing players to put alts in their guild?
I think it's actually going to encourage them more, because the more time you can get people to spend in your guild, the better off you're going to be. I mean, they're going to want your alts, because when you're playing on your alt, if you're not in their guild, then they're not getting the benefit. So if you're in the guild representing them, they're going to get the added benefits. So the more time they can keep you in your guild, in their guild, the better.
Cal, I know you've had some experience officering in a guild in other MMOs. do you think this is going to, like, when you create an event for a guild in Guild Wars 2, will this system really encourage players to come participate because of the buffs?
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Sure.
You come and participate, and you're better off for it.
Right.
I think it's going to greatly encourage it, and while I'm just, getting to grips with what this particular game is offering, these sorts of things in general are never a bad thing for a guild or a player. They're just not.
Yeah, I like a game that says, okay, the single player is a player in the game. The group of players is a player in the game. The guild is another player in the game. The server is a player in the game. But now the guild's a player in a whole nother game too. This is just crazy stuff. I love this type of big scale thinking. Tara, have we ever seen anything like this before? I mean, I guess I go back to EverQuest 2 might have had some stuff like this.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. Are the guild banks and the shared guild banks and points that players could earn by doing quests.
Yeah.
That would contribute towards their guild's overall progression. And you could have, but Guild Wars 2 in a way offered other things too, more cosmetic type things like guild houses and things like that. Not so much towards the progression in PvP, which Guild Wars 2 embraces.
Well, but it also embraces a lot of other things too. I guess Steve, help me out here. How many upgrades can you guys be going for in the guild in this system at one time?
Well, when you start off, you're only able to do one. And one of the things I'm thinking about doing early on for our guild is under architecture. Once you learn level 1, you can build a guild workshop, which allows you to do at least one additional at a time. So, which is where the influence, they have that ability to speed up that research time so you can get it done quicker. But you can also do the guild workshop so you can do 2 at a time.
So you're probably looking at maybe on the front end of this, getting guild research architecture level 1, probably throwing some influence into that to shorten the time frame up, and then grabbing the workshop and throwing some influence into it, shorten that time up then, yeah?
That's correct. I'd really like to hit that kind of early on for our guild. And I mean, different people are going to want to do it differently, but do that, and then I can focus on doing Art of War and maybe politics to try. I'd like to get our emblem out there as quick as possible as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's another fun part of this system. Surtas, help me out. Or, people are going to really be prioritizing things really differently, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely a strategy for these perks, if you will, to how to get them. I mean, some guilds are definitely going to go the economic route. Some guilds are going to go Art of War. Some guilds are going to go architecture. As Scuba said. So it's definitely it's like a meta game to the game, really. How to structure getting these achievements. And what kind of guild are we going to be? Are we going to be a PvE? Are we going to be world PvP, structured PvP? And that might play a part in how these perks are going after.
How many of these, Steve, can you bank?
I haven't really tested it. The most I've had on the buffs wise I think I had 2, maybe 3 of the buffs ready to activate.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the limit is on that yet. Haven't been able to push that.
Right.
I just hope that when you do hit that limit, it doesn't just wipe one out and put the new one in.
Right.
That it just gives you you can't have any more. You're going to have to activate. I hope they give that kind of warning. But I haven't been able to test it, so I couldn't really tell you what the limit.
I'm really seeing a bizarre system here for a guild leader. I'm seeing a lot of work for him, because can you not just see okay, it's Sunday night or Monday morning and I'm the guild leader. I got to get on game and queue up all my research for my event coming up on Friday night.
Yeah, and you know what, man? That's the nature of the beast. If you're a guild leader, you're going to be busy. You better, especially depending on the size of your guild, if you're anywhere near 50, 100 members, you just have to get used to getting rid of a little bit of your playtime to give up to your guild. It's kind of just the way that it goes. But and a lot of people, if you're a guild leader, you're going to know it right off the bat once you start seeing the workload that there is. outside of the game, and it's some people they're built for it. Some people it's not for them. So you got to kind of be ready for that. It's just one of the added responsibilities of leading a guild.
I don't know. I the more I read about the system, the more I fall in love with it, because the one thing I'm noticing is there is no useless perk in this thing. None. I mean, everything serves a purpose. I love the guild catapult idea.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
A less supply catapult to just start nailing people.
You know what I want to do, though, with the guild catapult?
Go.
I just want to take it, and I want to put Certos on the end there, and then just let that sucker rip and send Certos towards him. I mean, we'll create a crater where the enemies are.
Nice.
When it hits the ground. I mean, if we set them on fire, too, I mean, we may even get an explosion.
Certos,
There'll be Chipotle burritos all over the place.
Certos, are you cool getting put into a catapult and lit on fire and launched?
Yeah, for Grates, I'll do that.
Awesome. Yes. So don't forget to miss that. We are going to be putting Certos into a catapult, setting him on fire, and launching him next week on the show. I don't know. This system, I think, is absolutely engaging. I really like the looks of this. And I'm really noticing something, too, when we look at like the architecture pieces in this thing. Those seem to be the most expensive of the bunch. Obviously, the ones that are going to allow you to go further in your building of everything else. I love this system, though. I can't see any downside to this. Can anyone give me a downside to this influence system?
The length of time needed to do it, and the fact that people are going to be like, why am I spending so much time doing this kind of stuff? You know, it might take forever to get everything going, unfortunately.
Well, that's
smaller.
Go ahead.
Smaller guilds are going to have a difficulty with it too.
Yeah,
you think so?
And also, the main thing that another game ran into was the fact that once you get built up and once you get all those perks, it becomes very hard to find other guilds that have that, or to, you know, it becomes very hard to find other members of people to leave their current guild and come to yours because they don't want to leave their perks, especially if, you know, you have to be in the guild a certain length of time to get those perks.
But wait, let me step in on that, because the difference between the system that you're talking about, which was the one in World of Warcraft, and this is these are temporary. None of these run permanently, other than your rank level to be able to purchase other gifts, other, you know, influence pieces, whatever you want, whatever we're going to call these, other perks. The difference with the World of Warcraft system was once you opened it up, 10% faster experience from monsters, or 10% faster experience for everybody in the guild. That was it. It was unlocked. Everybody had it. Every alt had it. Everybody had it. Done. You never had to worry about that again. You never had to look at it again. It was achieved and done with. This is not that way. You have to continue to say, for the next 12 hours, we are going to choose. We are going to make the active decision to spend our influence points here. And that is the big differential. The reason that people won't go, well, my other guild already does this, my other guild already does that. Everybody has to earn it no matter what guild you're in. So I think that argument's not as strong in this game as it was in World of Warcraft, where I think that was a very, very strong argument for people.
I agree with you. It's not as strong. I still think it's going to create some issues, though.
Yeah, well, indeed. I mean, it's people that spent their money to upgrade to all 5. You know, a guild's got everything unlocked, and they can get whatever perk they want out of these, and they have the influence to be able to spend on it. Totally agreed. That I feel like that's completely valid, but I don't think people would hesitate to, you know, leave one guild and move to another if it was of equivalent value, if you will, or, you know, if it's what they wanted. I don't think that would deter people.
Any other comments on this fantastically cool little influence system here?
My thought is that the success of it will all come down to the players themselves on how active they are and how much they participate in their guild's events and activities.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think this thing's going to be predicated by. I think what we're going to really see is. I agree with you. I agree, Grace, on some aspects here that when you get people in a guild and they've got this all unlocked and people are getting perks for doing this and this and that and. Yeah, you're right. People are going to be more apt to stay with their guild rather than bounce guilds. I think that's kind of a positive in my effect. I think there's a positive aspect of that because we see that so often in games where people just like, I'm going to go make my own now, you know?
It all depends on what it is. If you're a small guild that's trying to get going and get people to your guild and trying to show that you have benefits that other guilds don't, it can be a huge impairment to even get going.
Well, yeah, no, because even 20, because let's look at, like we just talked about in the beginning, this system rewards active players. It doesn't reward the guys that are sitting, the guilds that have 500 members but during peak times only have 45 people on. I mean, it's going to reward, if you have a 25-man guild and you guys are all on playing, man, you're going to be able to get some influence going here pretty quick. I think the difference is going to be the smaller the guild you are, the more focused you're going to have to be on pointing people in a direction. Would you agree or disagree on that?
I just have to see it in practice to be able to say much more on it. I personally disagree, but I don't think we're going to be able to settle the argument, though, today either.
No, I'm not going to try to settle. I'm just trying to offer some thoughts out there. Any other comments on the influence system? I think this is a great addition to the game. I love it.
Yes.
I think it's a great idea, and I cannot wait to see this implemented in a live game that's permanent as opposed to a beta weekend event. Steve, what are your thoughts in the influence system at the end of this?
Well, personally, I'm loving it. But to also go with Grates on that, just to give an example, I know we had Minions of Grenth actually going for the last beta weekend, just to give an example.
Yep.
And I think we had, on average, actively logged in, and everybody was going to World v. World, doing PvE, dynamic events. It was anywhere between 15 up to almost 30 people on at one time. And I got Art of War 1, 2, along with a couple of the buffs done by the end of the weekend, and was building up architecture, I think we was building politics 1, and we were researching the guild emblem to be able to make the guild emblem by the end of the weekend, and with no problem.
Wow. So you're doing that in 3 days?
We did that in just those couple of days.
Wow. So this can move pretty quickly, even with a smaller guild then.
Yes, especially if you're grouping up, especially 4 or 5 people in a group. If you're filling your group up, you're going out doing, because World v. World is full of dynamic events. If you're defending a fort, that's an event. It pops up, say, defend this keep from such and such, and there's a certain amount of time. When you complete that, bam, you get your rewards, whether it's bronze, silver, or gold. You go take a supply camp, stop a supply line, or if you defend it, any kind of thing like that, that's a dynamic event. You get influence for it for the whole group. So it can build up a lot quicker than what you think. But the way they have the costs inset, especially on the higher up ranks, kind of offsets that too. So you can get your early stuff pretty quickly. It's just getting in the higher stuff that'll slow down.
Interesting. I don't know. I like the system. I think it's definitely a worthwhile addition to a game. I like games. I like MMOs that push the envelope a little bit. They're trying to really keep that community investment in there. And I think the influence system is really a huge step in that direction of just trying to keep the community invested in the game and interested in it. Parasite, am I wrong?
I totally agree with you. I mean, anytime you can add an extra little element that is adding something else to the game, community is just going to rally around it and just going to give them something else to do and hopefully keep this game active for a long, long, long time.
And this was The Siege number 2. Hey, we're glad you could make it and join us this week, everybody. As always, please send us some email. It's mail@mog-radio.com. Get us your emails in. We'll be opening up the community mailbag here probably starting next week, to be honest with you. We're already starting to get some emails coming in. Also, come to our website, mog-radio.com. If you would like to join any of the guilds mentioned in today's show, please come to mog-nation.com, and that'll be the portal for you to find either the Minions of Grenth or the First Order. Follow us on Twitter at MogRadio1. And Kash, where can we find the Mog Nation at?
Mog Nation on Twitter is at Mog Nation Gaming.
Perfect. So with that, everybody, we're going to be closing down the Siege this week. Thank you, everybody, for coming to join us on the show. And a special thanks to you, Scubahsteve, for joining us on the show and taking the time out. Come back anytime you want, buddy.
Hey, glad to be here. I'll come back anytime you want.
And with that, we'll see you next time on The Siege.
Goodbye.
Bye. Don't make me a cat person.